Hola guys, this is Traveling RN Chantal here, and in this video I will be reviewing my 4th travel nursing contract that I just completed in Placerville, California. So if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and leave any comments down below, and we'll get into the video. Okay, so Placerville, and I keep saying it wrong. The word is Placerville, but I've been saying Placerville since I got there, so I can't seem to get it correct. Either ways, I was in California for 13 weeks. 3 of those weeks I did actually request vacation, so technically my contract was, I was at the hospital for 10 weeks. So my contract originally was for 36 hours per week. Then after 3 weeks of working there, then I was like, you know what? This place is easy peasy. Let me just pick up an extra day. I was already picking up extra days. I was like, why not? So then into 3 weeks of my contract, I requested to be 48 hours. I did 48 hours at the facility, and to be honest, I was working like 60, 72 hours a week. If I wasn't on vacation, I was working. So as far as my experience in that hospital went, it was a very non-trauma facility. It had 24 beds in the ER. They had 2 sections, technically 3 sections. They had a fast track area where you take low acuity patients. Normally that was run by a LVN. Then there was another section where we had like kind of like a COVID area, just because they had the negative pressure rooms. And then the other side had like just the regular rooms. They did have 2 trauma rooms. But like I said, very small ER. Everybody was very helpful, very informational, very hands-on, very into it. I would say that if you are the type of person that you don't do well working with others, travel nursing might not be for you, because you just have to adapt to the different environment. The hospital I just came from is so different from a lot of the other hospitals I've worked at. But that's definitely one thing I would definitely say if you are looking into doing travel nursing. Make sure you're easy to adapt to the environment, because every place is different. And like I said, the place I just came from, they were super helpful, and maybe too helpful. But I've learned that there's no such thing as too helpful. If someone wants to help you do your job, let them do it. Makes your life easier. They have techs, but the techs are only able to do EKGs and pretty much like strip rooms and help the patient like move and bedpan kind of stuff, but they don't do POCs. No glucose, no pregnancy tests. They don't do blood work, can't do IVs, all that jazz. They did not have that much techs, to be honest. I feel like the one thing I've always asked the tech to do is like, hey, I have an EKG, can you go get that? But I feel like I never really asked the tech to really do much, just because in my head, like, they can't do all these other things. So I don't even think about asking them for it. And that might have been my fault. Like, I could have, it just seems so silly of me to ask someone. Like, I know I've heard people be like, oh, can you go reassess that patient's vitals? And in my head, I'm like, I can reassess my patient's vitals. But anyways, there's that. While I was working there, not a lot of traumas came through. I personally had 0 traumas, and I mean like not a fall, hit your head kind of trauma, because those came all the time. Patients fall, hit their head all the time. I mean, like, I never had a patient who came in intubated. I never had a patient who came in with a gunshot wound. That doesn't mean that that did not exist at this hospital, but I never experienced it. I also was not put in the trauma area. Not complaining, I'll take the break when I can get it, but they did not put me in trauma, so I never did traumas. Another crazy thing that I never did at this hospital, which is no fault to anyone, but it's just something I realized on my last day, I never did a blood transfusion while I was on this contract. Not one time, which is so wild to me. Like I get used to doing them so many times. Yeah, not one patient. So on the very last day, I learned where the lab was, not because I was doing a blood transfusion, but because I was delivering. I straight cath a baby, and because I straight cath the baby, I personally, one of my rules when it comes to kids, I don't like sending things in the tube station. Everyone looked at me like I was weird. They're like, why don't you just send it? I was like, because I don't want to. I mean, that's the truth. I feel like if I worked my butt off to get that urine, straight cathing a kid, I'm gonna walk it to the lab and I'm gonna make sure it gets hand delivered, because we're not repeating that. So yeah, I found out where the lab was on my last day, and that's when I realized, hey, shoot, I never did a blood transfusion because I never had to go to the lab to go pick up blood. Mind blowing. What else? I worked night shifts. On that contract, I did a 7P to 7A. The facility was like, you get in at 7, and then we had huddle at this facility. I can't tell you the last time I had huddle. Like, this was true huddle. Like, we stood there, and they let us know basically like what was going on in the department, what's to be expected. Then we talked about our feelings. Guys, it's so weird. They were asking me about my feelings, how my day went, did I get any sleep. Like, it was just very personal and weird for me because I haven't experienced that ever in huddle. So it was just so weird, but it was nice. I'm not complaining about it, but it was just so odd. A lot of the nurses in that facility were experienced nurses. Like, they've been there for like 5+ years. A lot of people, if they live in that area, they don't really leave. So there were a lot of like experienced nurses that's been there for a while. I feel like the younger crowd was more actually travel nurses, to be honest. They did have a lot of travel nurses. I did think about extending my contract, but they were going to decrease my pay, and I refused to take a contract that is less than what I was already getting. So there's that. One of my favorite things working at this hospital was the fact that I got 3 breaks, guys. 3 breaks. I had a 15, a 30-minute break, and then a 15 again before my shift ended. And if you did not get your 15, you get paid for it. And I'm like, what? Like, the fact that I even got a break, I was just mind blown. Like, I get a lunch break every time I come to work. Really? Yeah, really. Like, I was so excited. That was definitely my favorite thing about this assignment, is every single day I had a lunch break. Actually, one day I did not receive a lunch break out of my entire assignment. One time I did not receive it. I got paid for it, but I got 15s. I still got my 15 break. I just didn't get my whole 30, but I still got 215. So whatever. It was like wild. Another thing I loved about this contract is the shift bonus. When I picked up extra shift, as you guys know from my previous like paychecks, because you know I'm all about pay transparency, you can go to my other videos and see how much I was getting paid. But what I loved about this contract is working in California is so different from working in other states. When I was working on this contract, the first 8 hours was regular time, the last 4 hours was overtime, and if I stayed an additional 4 hours, it was double pay. And I have not had double pay in any other state that I've worked at. So, which I never worked to 16, so I never actually experienced the double pay, but it was available if I really wanted to do it. And then there was the shift bonuses. I originally, when I started my first contract, before I did the switch from 36 to 48, the first, my original contract, my shift bonus, if I picked up an additional shift, was $430. When I switched over to 48 hours, my shift bonus went to $830. So every shift I picked up, I was supposed to get an additional $830 on top of my pay. The most memorable thing that happened to me during this contract was the fact that I had so much issue with payroll for the travel nursing agency that I was working with. Obviously, as I said, was working with. I am no longer working with that agency for my next contract because personally, it was all BS. From the first paycheck to my I don't want to say my last paycheck because I got one more paycheck to go at the end of the week, but from my first paycheck to the 12th paycheck, every single paycheck has been incorrect. They did not give me my shift bonus that I was supposed to get. I've been working 72 hours, guys, like a crazy person, and I was not getting paid for it. And then there's that. There's the communication, the lack of communication, the lack of responses to my reaching out. Like no one was reaching back to me. And then when they finally did, they made it seem like they were trying to reach me and I was not giving them the opportunity to communicate with me. Please stop. So there was that. It made me so angry that literally on the 10th week, I think 10th or 11th week, I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. And I signed up for a different travel nursing agency because I'm not going to continue to have the same issues over and over again. And I realized that the issue is in California, like I said, there's all these extra rules like the shift bonus, the double pay, the X, Y, and Z. That is where the problem came in. I don't know if it's that that specific person that was the issue, but I wasn't going to deal with it. You just had to mess up once. You're not messing with my money. So I switched over to a different agency. I am starting, my next contract starts February 14. Happy Valentine's Day, guys. But yeah, my next contract starts February 14th. I am going home. Not true home, but I am going home. Originally from Maryland, but my next contract is going to be in Pennsylvania. Super excited about it. I do want to go home. Like I said, Pennsylvania is like 2 hours away, depending on where you are. It's going to be like 2 hours away from Maryland. I'm going to go home, visit my family, and still be able to travel nurse at the same time. And then after that contract, I'm going to probably do a contract in Maryland. Once I do a contract in Maryland, I know, guys, I originally said I was going to focus my contracts in California, but I really want to get the travel nursing experience of working in different states. And so far I've done that, and I kind of feel like I want to continue to do that. Yes, the pay in California was wonderful, technically, because like I said, all my paychecks were incorrect, so it would have been wonderful, but I really want to experience new environments and learn new things in different places. So like I said, I'm gonna do a Pennsylvania contract, probably gonna do a Maryland contract right after that, and then it's up to whatever. I think I might do like North Carolina or I don't know, Georgia. I don't know, guys. Florida. I don't know. I'm pretty much open to whatever, but I feel like I do want to slowly drive up again to California, and just really do true travel nursing. I want to go to Alaska. I hate the snow, but like I said, I want to experience true travel nursing. I really want to work in every single state just to say I did. I think that would be awesome. So we'll see. I say that now and then we'll see when the contract comes. But that's how my time went in Placerville, California. Yeah, that's how my time went. Stay tuned for another video. I'll just let you guys know how much I actually made while I was there. Like the entire, like exactly how much I made while I was in California, and then compare it to other states that I've worked at. So you guys see how much money can you really make. And I was working overtime, so if you go to California and work that overtime, this is what it will equal at least. I think that's it, guys. I don't think I have anything else to update you guys with. If it pops into my head, you know a video will show up eventually. So I will see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any comments, go ahead and leave them down below. And I will see you guys later.